There's a man in the Alabama State Prison who is in this condition. Here it is. Look at it. You see that? You see that, right? That's not some prisoner of war. This is a man inside of an Alabama state prison. Here's what he looked like before. Okay? I'm going to give you the background to this insanity. A South Alabama woman is pleading for help after she received photos of her brother showing him in dire medical distress in a state prison. 32-year-old Castillo Bond, looking well enough and healthy in that picture, which was taken July 24th. He's currently an inmate at Elmore Correctional Facility. He began serving a 20-year sentence in 2019 for multiple convictions for burglary and unlawful breaking and entering a vehicle. He was up for parole in June, but was denied. He will be eligible again for parole consideration June of 2027. Now let's go back to these other pictures. This was Vaughn on September 2nd, unable to sit up, obviously malnourished. His eyes almost rolling up into the back of his head. His sister, Cassie, detailed in Facebook Wednesday the horrific decline of her brother's health after receiving 2 photos of him this week with the message, get help, get help. This was Vaughn just 2 days ago. This was September 21st. Do you see this? It's hard to look at, I know. Promise you it's harder for him to go through it. It's harder for the family to know this is happening. Now I'm highlighting this story because for some reason, this state prison has some kind of control over the local media in Alabama, but they do not control me. Cassie said in her Facebook post, let's do this, put his picture back up. The sister said in her Facebook post, he cannot walk, he cannot stand, he is weak, he is vulnerable. She is begging for a welfare check and medical intervention for her brother. Meanwhile, in updates since the original post, Cassie stated yesterday, Elmore Correctional Facility, y'all violating so many of my brother's rights as a human. How y'all remove me off my brother's contact info and his visitation list, which means she can no longer visit her brother. Y'all gonna get what's coming to y'all if I don't care if it takes my last breath. I can no longer call and check the status of my brother because they have removed me. See, in order to visit someone inside of that prison, you must be on what's called an approved visitation list. She was on that list until this happened. All of a sudden, she's no longer on the approved visitation list. Local outlet WRBL has been stonewalled. Local outlet WRBL reached out to the Alabama Department of Corrections early Thursday morning to get a comment. We were told to email media relations, which we did. A nameless person responded quickly at 9:31 Thursday morning saying, we are checking into it. Hours later, we haven't heard anything back. We sent a follow-up email Thursday afternoon. When we pushed to speak with someone in person, we were told to have a blessed day and hung up on. A call back was never answered. WRBL also reached out to the Elmore Correctional Facility after being transferred a few times. The phone then disconnected. WRBL News tried to call again Thursday afternoon, but the phone was never answered. Meanwhile, AL.com received the following. The Alabama Department of Corrections understands there is concern about the welfare of inmate Castillo DeMarcus Bond. The ADOC wrote in an email to AL.com, another media outlet. They said, and I quote, he is assigned to the Elmore Correctional Facility, but is currently housed at Station Medical Observation Unit. ADOC's Office of Health Services has fully investigated his situation from a clinical perspective, and he has been offered all necessary treatment for his condition. Also, he has been in touch with his family to update them on his situation. That is what they said on record. That is what they said. Now, they did not respond to the local media. They did not provide this information to members of the press that tried to push and get information about this particular story. As of today, the sister posted, there is no update regarding my brother. His family have still not heard from him. We don't know where he is located or if he has received any type of medical help. We are in the process of getting him a lawyer to fight for his rights as a human. The institution, Elmore Correctional Facility, that he is placed in is not receiving calls from the public or his family. They have stated they do not want to talk to the Vaughn family. We are asking for medical help, not a release. Now, I'm going to say this. I have a private investigator and an attorney headed to that prison this weekend. Now, these cats are not to be played with. If you decide, I'm talking directly to the prison director, if you decide to play games with them, the public relations and legal nightmare coming to you will be well earned. We need to know that Mr. Vaughn is okay. We need to know that he is receiving the medical attention he obviously needs. And the family needs to be assured of your efforts to make sure this human being receives a human experience while being incarcerated. There's a GoFundMe for them to help obtain a lawyer. The GoFundMe, I present that to you right here. This is for Costello Vaughn lawyer. Now let me shift gears. Who are the administrators of the Elmore prison? Put them up. Look at that. The administrators of Elmore are Rolanda Calloway, and Jeffrey Baldwin. They are the administrators. John Hamm, the ADOC commissioner. Let's expose him. This is John Hamm, Alabama Department of Corrections. Even though the public and media have been stonewalled, here's the contact info for Elmore and for the Alabama Department of Corrections. Let's put it up. Elmore Correctional Facility, 3520 Marion Spillway Road, Elmore, Alabama, 36025. The phone number, 334-567-1460. Alabama Department of Corrections, 301 South Ripley Street, P.O. Box 301501, Montgomery, Alabama, 36130. You can also call 1-855-WE-ARE-ADOC. Okay. Now, details are sketchy. I believe the sister. I do not believe you. I do not believe the Department of Corrections. I do not believe the administrators of the prison. I do not believe the emails that you have sent. I believe the sister. Just because someone is serving a prison sentence does not mean they have shed their humanity, does not mean they deserve what is happening to this person. This is torture. Did you see him? You know, a lot of people will say, we're praying for the family. And I am, I'm a man of faith. I hope somebody in the family, please get in touch with me, however you can, so I can connect you to the private investigator and the attorney whom I've already set on this situation. Please make contact with us at Indisputable. Ben, thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many layers to this. I mean, the first and foremost, our prison system was built like, just to be clear, like the foundation of our prison system is dehumanizing. It was built on the idea of stripping away people's humanity. It was built on the idea of literally being a replacement for just outright slavery. That was the whole concept behind the foundation of building our prison system. And it maintains that mentality to this day. And there's so many people that are willing to just write people off who are in prison. But like, think about it, right? Like, there are tons of people in prison for like nonviolent drug offenses. We throw people in prison in this country for basically anything. We have the highest incarceration rate in the world, right? People who are like just regular, kind and decent people, right, can get swept up and put into it. And like, it's just really telling. It's just really telling because there's a huge divide, right? Like if you know anybody, if you have family that have ever either been to prison or potentially face going to prison, right? Then like you understand and you see this and you're like, oh my God, that almost happened to somebody I love, or that could happen to somebody that I love. And for the folks that are like privileged enough to, I guess, have never had to worry about anything like that, it's just like, it's just really, really like telling how like willing they are to be so dehumanizing and just to like completely disregard people. And it's just really, really infuriating. Because like, what's the whole idea? What do we want from a criminal justice system? We want to prevent violence, right? That's what we want to keep our community safe. We want to prevent harm, right? But right now, our prison system creates far more harm than it prevents. Just to be very clear, there's way more harm that is coming from our prison system than if overnight we all of a sudden didn't have one. Now, nobody's calling for overnight, no more prisons, but at the end of the day, we need a fundamental change. We need to dig up the roots of our system and completely replace it.
Yeah, very well said. And once again, to the family, please make sure to try to get in touch with me, okay? And I'm not letting a damn thing go. I'm not letting this go.